You're watching BattleCast Primetime. The father of RTS, Lewis Castle, is in studio and ready to reminisce. What can the Red Alert 3 team learn from their predecessor? Plus, you've had Kane's Wrath for a month now, but was your match good enough to make the BattleCast 5? And break out your fur Usankas because BattleCast Primetime goes to Russia. We bring you the latest from the cold front. BattleCast Primetime starts now. You're logged in to BattleCast Primetime alongside Joshi. I'm David Silverman. In case you missed the last episode of BattleCast Primetime, we're letting you pick the matches in the main event by posting challenges in the Command & Conquer TV forums. Our first post came from my co-host turned adversary, Raj Joshi.
You know what? Actually, you guys, if you would just fight to the death for my amusement.
2 MCBs enter, 1 MCB leaves. Are you man enough to take my challenge?
David has finally accepted my challenge, and tonight we'll be throwing down on Black's big battle. Yes, soon I'll be taking down Silverman once and for all, and joining the ranks of the Karate Kid, Chuck Norris, and Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa? I don't think so. Eye the Tiger is my creed. And besides, Raj, you're missing one key ingredient to becoming an action hero, a training montage. Oh yes, that's right. While you were busy producing CNC, I was on a strict nod regiment, training to be the best that I can be. Let's check it out.
Go. Come on.
Go! Go! Get angry!
Look at this. Over there.
Hotkeys, David. Use the hotkeys.
It's funny, you seem to have left out the clip of you reading the Prima strategy guide right before the show.
The fight of the century kicks off in our new main event, now featuring fan-submitted grudge matches at the end of the show. While you're still among the living, Raj, why don't you give us the latest from the front?
Kane's Wrath is coming to the Xbox 360 this summer. Like the PC title, it'll feature a 13-mission campaign spanning 2 decades of CNC lore, complete with new sub-factions and epic units. But Kane's Wrath on the 360 has some exciting new features as well. The team that pioneered RTS on the console is taking it to the next stage and adding even more fluid and responsive controls with the new command stick. The command stick allows you to execute all of your commands with a simple flick of the thumb. Stay tuned next month for an interview with the Xbox 360 lead producer, Wes Eckhart. Maybe we can get a little more info on the exclusive Kane's Challenge mode that will be in the Xbox 360 version.
Next week, I'll be joining the producers of Red Alert 3 for our kickoff event in, you guessed it, Mother Russia. The team will be unveiling Red Alert 3 to the world for the first time in a 2-day extravaganza. And of course, what better place to reveal a Red Alert series game than in Moscow? The press will be given a sneak peek into the new look of Red Alert, and they'll be treated to exclusive information about the game's story and naval gameplay. We'll even throw in an unmasked multiplayer just for their pleasure. And to top it all off, the event will be held in an actual World War II bunker. Stay tuned to the next episode of BattleCast Primetime for highlights from this monumentous event.
CNC League Season 2 kicks off this month, and we've got some great prizes in store for you. Like last time, to qualify, just be in the top 8 on your ladder at midnight Pacific Standard Time the last day of each month. APOC will set up an epic 32-man single elimination tournament with all the qualifiers the first week of summer. Oh, and if you prefer retro gaming, check out the Red Alert 2 tournament going on now at our official site, www.commandandconquer.com.
Speaking of retro, we're joined now by the man who coined the term RTS. RTS legend, the father of the sacred green crystal, Lewis Castle.
Hi.
Lewis, it's an absolute honor to have you on Command & Conquer TV, but are you ready to face the firing squad?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Now, Lou, Command & Conquer's been around for about 13 years. Did you know that 13 years ago when you came up with the idea for Command & Conquer that it would end up spawning multiple games, different genres, a Command & Conquer TV network? What were you thinking?
Oh, of course not. No, no, we didn't know that. We were just trying to make a great game. You know, we had done this great game called Dune 2 at Westwood, and
Awesome game, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we were looking for something a little bit more relevant.
There's different universes in Command and Conquer. Which one, out of curiosity, is your favorite?
I guess you know, I've always partial to the Red Alert. I like the gameplay a lot in Tiberium Sun because there were so many cool things, and especially Command & Conquer Tiberium Wars. But the Red Alert universe has always been one of my favorites because of the sort of campy, lighthearted nature of it, and the kind of weird science gone wrong has always been a lot of fun.
How did you guys come up with the idea to kind of like shift things and include like time travel and, you know, all these kinds of crazy, wacky things? What was going on?
Well, in the original Command & Conquer, the whole theory of Tiberium was this disruptive material that would allow for the kind of weird science, the stuff that we thought might be in the back rooms of military agents all over the world to be available. And as we were looking at those things, we looked back to history and we found things like the Philadelphia experiment and Nikola Tesla and these really great ideas and said, hey, you know, there's this crazy weird science going on during World War II where people were trying to find that upper edge. They were trying to find that thing that was going to give them the advantage. And wouldn't it be cool if a world existed where all that stuff actually worked instead of being sort of failed experiments?
You know, how did you guys kind of come up with that kind of concept, going for that sort of parallel dimension angle and really incorporating it into what happens with like kind of today's military?
Well, I know that early on with Brett and Adam were talking about the story for Red Alert. They were talking about, hey, how are we going to get all the gameplay that we want to have in a world, in a universe that won't be offensive to like most of our audience? We didn't want to make the bad guys the same old bad guys. You know, people had picked on the Nazis and others so many times. It's like something else for a change. And this idea of if we could go back in time, it would be really easy to make Joe Stalin the horror and the terror of the world that he very well could have been. I think that really led to the idea of, well, what if this universe, we had a different World War II? It was a totally different space. And that, of course, coupled with the weird science, led to the idea of a time machine. Who better to create a time machine than Albert Einstein?
Lewis Castle, you have survived the firing squad. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's an honor to have you here.
It was my pleasure.
I wish we could talk more. I wish even more you'd give me the details on the talent, but we have the greatest fan matches to get to in the BattleCast 5.
Excellent.
5.
It's Chernobyl Blackhand and Zohar Traveler against Vasily Reaper and Hellraiser Zocom on Empire City. Vasily makes an uncontested claim on the center field while Zohar rushes Hellraiser. Ravagers and the Infestation send Hellraiser's economy to the screeching halt. He drops out, leaving Vasily to fly solo. Chernobyl tries to flank the center field, but an untimely buzzer swarm wipes out his infantry rush as we go to round 2. Chernobyl sends in upgraded rocket militants, which now have black disciples with purifying flames peppered into each one of them. The flames take on the buzzers and the rockets down the storm columns and tripods. But Vasily has assimilators waiting to recover those husks the second they fall. +5 intelligence for Vasily. Chernobyl's in the doghouse again. Vasily's got so much money he thinks he can just spam tripods. Seems like a sound strategy, but Zohar's got cultists. The cultists mind control the tripods and save Chernobyl's base. Zohar uses repair drones to heal them up and his own assimilators to grab the husks. Vasily's tripods are sent right back at him, where they stare into the eyes of an epic unit and twice the amount of tripods. Vasily calls in the Overlord's wrath! No one can survive this onslaught. Or cue the cultists. Remarkable! With barely a single structure lost, our unsung heroes reclaim the husks and mount an offensive. That center field is now dried up, and check out the range on those cultists. Chernobyl and Zohar get to come from behind win despite only having a fifth of Vasily's income. I guess money can't buy happiness or a win. It's a shame he didn't even get to see Montana.
4.
It's Johnny G. Traveler versus AVP Eddie Reaper on tournament decision. Johnny sends out an explorer and scouts with buzzers while AVP techs up with a nerve center and tries to grab those tech structures. Johnny's buzzers make short work of the unguarded assimilator, allowing him to claim some spikes and get an early econ advantage. With less cash, AVP abandons his tech tree in favor of cheap seekers. Johnny, on the other hand, is swimming in credits and his greed gets the best of him as he techs and expands without building up an army. The seekers almost overpower him, but his lightning spikes and storm columns save the day. Meanwhile, AVP's moved his drone platform north and puts his economy back on track. The Reaper tripods and shielded seekers are relentless in spite of Johnny's temporal wormhole and mecha peak. How in the world did he hold the line against that? AVP fires off Overlord's wrath, but he doesn't have a force ready to clean up the mess, so Johnny repairs and builds some tripods of his own. Mechapedes and Devastators join the fight as Johnny throws everything and the kitchen sink at AVP. What a comeback! Base defenses and a strong economy gave Johnny G the unlikely win.
3,
To the hard way, Black Man takes on Avi Luna Steel Talons on Small Town, USA. 2 grabs his spikes and claims the center tower, but Luna takes a different approach. Luna rushes to an airfield and queues up a single hammerhead, while Rainer scanning and calling in the Bloodhound. That hammerhead gets garrisoned with Grenadiers before the up center and airfield are sold off. Bold strategy, but the hammerhead and reinforcements arrive at different times, and 2 Scorpions save the day. Ba, ba, ba. Luna sends in another wave as a distraction for its MCV headed west. Luna's got 2 bases, and 2, ironically, is left with just 1. Conflict up north as Luna tries desperately to hold the line, but 2 breaks through! Why isn't Luna concerned that he's losing ground? Oh yeah, he's got a dozen rocket hammerheads charging into 2's undefended base. Well played, Luna.
2,
Back to tournament decision, it's Lock-On Zocom against Mad Ripper Traveler. Lock-On expands and goes for the tip spikes while Mad Ripper cranks out buzzers. Unfortunately, those buzzers meet their untimely end as Lock-On's protected his engineers with riflemen. Lock-On's taken his sweet old time getting his economy and land army under control, while Mad has already teched up the Storm Riders. I'm predicting bad things to come for Lock-On, but lucky for Lock, his rocket harvesters are, technically, a direct counter. Oh, but he throws in a pitbull too. How cliche. Mad continues to harass at the south field. Did that harvester just vet up? The infestation, some well-microed shock troopers, and a lightning spike still can't throw Lock off kilter. Mad's been outsmarted at every turn. It seems like Locke has stolen Mad's playbook, easily demonstrating the perfect counter every step of the way. Finally, 2 Mechapedes and an Overlord's Wrath take down Locke's defenses, while a temporal wormhole covers the assault. Mad's reveling in his victory as he goes for the jugular, but Lock-On's got hammerheads, garrisoned with rockets, holding down the fort. Mad's PACs create ion storms, but they fall to the hammerheads in no time. Fast forward and those hammerheads take out Devastators, Shock Troopers, Harvesters, and Mechapedes. Locke knows when to hold them, when to fold them, and apparently when to flank. This sneaky team of hammerheads, rockets, and zone raiders give Locke the win, and a 4-to-1 kill ratio. Expertly played on both sides.
1,
It's NJKK, March of Cain versus Mechwrath Blackhand on Tournament Tower. Both players claim their tip spikes and rush the tower, but Wrath gets there first. KK taking the Benjamin to an account, queues up some harvesters. Looks like Wrath is also thinking about KK's economy as a battalion of rocket bikes takes out those very same harvesters. Dope! Wrath sends in his flame-wielding Confessor Cabal, but come on, they're not invincible. I don't know what's killing them faster, the shredded turrets or the Tiberium exposure. Wrath's flame tanks pull up right as KK's Spectres unstealth. What an explosion! It comes down to the wire, but Wrath's pushed out. Another surge, but this time, Wrath's met with an Avatar Obelisk and the apparently deadly Nod Harvester. Not too bad for a vehicle with no weapons at all. KK sneaks in some Spectres, but Wrath one-ups him with the Twin Sisters Reckoner Rush, a Greg Kasavin classic from Command School. Those Spectres have nothing on the 2 heroic commandos in a base with absolutely no anti-infantry. Tens of thousands of credits worth of avatars watch helplessly as this deadly duo claims victory for Mechwrath. And there's your 5 for this month.
The 5, brought to you by Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath. Fight through over 3 decades of CNC lore and unleash Kane's Wrath. In stores now on the PC and this summer on the Xbox 360.
You know, I think I might pull a few of those plays out when I take you down in the main event, Silverman. Actually, scratch that. 5 attack bikes would probably take your base down.
I don't think so. The main event is only available in the full episode of BattleCast Primetime, always free and on demand at commandandconquer.com. We'll also be answering your questions in Ask a Developer and bringing you the latest community news in Apox Corner. Plus, we'll even break down the entire process of making a Command & Conquer unit, from concept to creation. And just for you, we will profile one of gaming's unsung heroes in our newest segment, Meet a Developer. There's more left in the show, so head on over to the official site at commandandconquer.com and feed that CNC craving. As always, send your comments to bcpt@ea.com, and don't forget to battlecast your match for a shot to be featured here on BattleCast Primetime. For Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman, and we'll see you on the battlefield.